Split the uprights in a win for South Florida in an upset in Gainesville. We are in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where the 21st ranked Crimson Tide is starting its open against Monroe, and a flag and movement.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the center, Parker.
First down.
That's the center, Parker Brailsford. Cole, now that we have the bigger audience, what are you looking for from Alabama in terms of effort in this game?
Intensity, physicality, Tom, at the end of the day. Even more so from the defense than the offense. The offense was given a chance to do it early on, and I thought a little bit of that got taken away. Ryan Grubb even told us yesterday he felt like he got away from it too early. I like the confidence-building throw on first down, going to one of your playmakers from last week, but I want to see Alabama impose their will.
So 1st and 15. And here's the first run of the day, and it's a doozy. Kevin Riley just bursts straight up the middle and into ULM territory. Another gain of 22.
Just like that, Tom. Allowed this big offensive line that outweighs this ULM offensive line by 20, 30 pounds a player, and just get north and south. Stay on your combo blocks, stay on those double teams, and let your playmakers get out there and find some yards.
O-line did not have a great week against Florida State, especially at left tackle. Caden Proctor, top prospect on that line. Fresh set of downs for Ty Simpson. And a little touch pass. Here is Lozier Brooks. And Brooks takes a lick but explodes for a little bit more. If you joined us late, Ryan Williams is unavailable tonight. He is out with a concussion. So Lozier Brooks, a freshman out of Millville, New Jersey, is expected to get a lot of run in his place.
This coaching staff excited about the juice that he brings. Tom said electric and can get to full speed faster than anybody else on this football team.
He set a New Jersey high school receiving record and was a 4-time first-team all-state wide receiver. Simpson out of the pistol. And they go off tackle this time with Richard Young. Gain of 3.
Going to get a lot of movement from this Warhawk defensive line tonight. You saw it there, a little bit of a slant to the right side of the offensive line. Not necessarily clean by trading that off. A linebacker free in the hole, but still able to make first man miss, still come up with positive yards.
Get a little bit bigger. Jay Lindsey enters at the tight end spot. Young is off of the hip of Simpson. Ty Simpson, a backup for 3 years, never wavered on his commitment to this program. Touch pass wide open, and it's a walk-in score for Jeremy Bernard. What a start for the Alabama offense. Of course, it started the FSU game with a steady drive and a touchdown. Offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb said felt like the field of dreams. It went sideways after that. Lost last week after scoring on the opening drive, only the 2nd time in 60 Alabama games. Blake Talty is the kicker. And just like that, Alabama cashes in on its opening drive. Ty Simpson, a perfect 3 for 3 for 60 yards. Final 29 coming on this wide open toss to Bernard. Tom Hart alongside Cole Kulick. Jordan Rogers is on assignment. And Alabama cashes in on its first possession. No yards last week after the first possession. It was steamy down in Tallahassee and stressful for this Alabama fan base. And all of the headlines talked about the pressure to win and the effort. It's a knuckleball pooch handled at the 8 and taken to the 20. And Cole, the big point of effort, was the effort that was or wasn't seen last week.
This is the part of this football team people are going to be anxious to see if it's changed, Tom, with Alabama coming on defense. The hustle to the football. This is just not tracking the ball carrier the way that we're used to seeing players in an Alabama uniform on the defensive side of things. And at the point of attack, just not necessarily what it needed to be. Missing tackles, not fitting the run in the proper gaps, turning your shoulders and your back to the ball carrier. Not characteristics of Crimson Tide defense's past.
Ken Womack is the defensive coordinator. He said, we felt like we had a great week of practice. We knew what Gus Malzahn was going to run. We just didn't execute. Here's Braylon McReynolds, who picks up a few yards on first down. The quarterback for UL Monroe is Aiden Armenta, and he's following the Diego Pavia playbook. He's from the land of enchantment. They played for rival high schools in Albuquerque. Diego a few years ahead of them, both transferred away from the state. Armenta redshirted with the Lobos in 23. Last year threw for 1,200 yards as he followed his then offensive coordinator Bryant Vincent to Monroe, where he's now the head coach in his second season. On 2nd and 6, great pursuit on the backside, and James Smith comes up with a stop for Bama. It's a loss of a yard.
If there's a player on this defense, Tom, that has epitomized what it needs to be physically, 23 James Smith would be that guy. Attempt to cut the backside there. He keeps the shoulder pads low enough to sort of buck that guard off of him and comes flat down the line of scrimmage to help make a play in the backfield.
We'll see some youngsters in there next to Smith, including London Simmons at some point tonight. Due to multiple injuries on that interior defensive line this week for Bama. Knocked away and nearly picked by Justin Jefferson, reading the eyes of Armenta. And it's a 3-and-out for the Warhawks.
Spotting play action going to be big tonight against this offense. This is a straight drop back, though. Jefferson in zone coverage, eyeballing the quarterback. And a nice play with an open receiver behind him. Having an understanding of what that route combination possibly going to be, dropping into that space, batting that football down.
Alabama is reporting as number 27. Number 30 reporting as 27.
Mackenzie Ryan to punt it away for ULM. Bama came after it, and this will be a short punt. Cole Adams takes it to 45. We'll have kick, catch interference, and add a few more to what was just a 34-yard punt.
Kick, catch interference. Kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Tim Barker is our referee tonight. Textbook. Got to give him some space.
A couple of easy mistakes that can be correctable for this Warhawks football team early tonight, Tom. Not the start Brian Vincent wanted. You busted coverage, give up a touchdown. Obviously, penalty there on the kick return is going to put Alabama in their own territory. Got enough stacked against you as it is. Those kind of mistakes going to let this one get out of hand in a hurry.
Ty Simpson was a Gatorade Player of the Year in Tennessee. His dad in his 21st season as a head coach at UT Martin. They're playing in El Paso tonight. Kevin Riley in the backfield. Got a convoy. And wiggles his way to a gain of a couple.
Cam Dewberry, a new addition to this Alabama offensive line. Big 71 at left guard, Tom. Pulling around on that counter play. Takes a Warhawk defender for a ride. 2-3 yards down past the line of scrimmage. That play had potential to set up to be a little bit of a bigger run. But I like the physicality. I like the come-off that I'm seeing from this Alabama offensive line early on.
Different than last week?
Well, they didn't have a problem with this last week. First drive was incredible. It was as the game progressed.
And now 2nd and 8. And enough of a gap for Kevin Riley to pick up a couple more. That's going to leave 3rd and about 6. What'd you make of Ty Simpson's play against Florida State?
I thought he did more things better than a lot of people saw or even wanted to attempt to appreciate. He had defenders in his face often. Pressure he had to battle. I thought he layered a couple of footballs well. The ball didn't get out on time in certain points in that game. And it looked a little bit tight early. I thought he loosened up some as the game went on. It was a good performance, but not a great one, of course, with how things turned out.
Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer want him to just rip it. He does it here, looking for a screen. Brooks breaks free, and he's got an Alabama first down. Another catch for the true freshman, Lazier Brooks.
Told you earlier, Tom, they're excited about what this young man brings. This is a pass play. What's the right side of your offensive line here? That ended up being about 10 yards down the field on a little option play where that ball can go to the back or you can spit it out to the sideline.
Looking to punch it in on their second possession as Daniel Hill gets an opportunity.
Well, Tom, I can tell you that 99% of the Alabama fans watching this game right now probably have a similar appreciation to this drive that I do, being called by Ryan Grubb. What a lot of folks thought this team could be, potentially had the makeup inside of them to be, and that is one that can push you against your will. They can impose their physicality on you. In this drive, we're seeing it up front from Alabama.
Goatee Grubb in the middle of that front row of the coach's box up here on the 7th floor at Bryant-Denny. On 2nd and 5, little inside move, Bernard, and he's got it outside, and he's got another score. 16-yard catch and run by Jeremy Bernard. Second score of the night for the senior from Las Vegas.
It's going to work out almost as just a little counter play. Bernard in a tight formation, going to get a little push. Nice block by 71, and look at 80. Josh Cuevas, the tight end, with a finisher down to the ground, and Bernard makes a mighty move to cut all the way back across the grain into the end zone.
No Ryan Williams tonight. So far, the Alabama wide receivers have looked top-notch. Talty punches another one through. Bernard and Brooks carrying the load on this last drive, and Jeremy Bernard, who was one of the leading receivers in the country last week, already has 2 touchdowns tonight. We're not even midway through the opening quarter.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet.
It's been a century since we celebrated the 1925 national champions. They got a parade right through Tuscaloosa with students pushing the wagons with the team on it. Head coach Wallace Wade, and that team was 10-0. They're they allowed fewer than 3 points a game. The only 2 teams that scored against them were Washington and Birmingham Southern. Didn't have that on the trivia list, did you?
Well, they don't have football anymore either.
Nope.
Nor do they have school.
We didn't come here to play school. We're not playing anything anymore. Kalen DeBoer's got a 2-touchdown lead. And another punch kickoff goes right through the first man's hand, scooped up by the second. And we're seeing the effort from Alabama so far tonight. We saw incredible effort from you. Hustle award already to go from the sideline back up in the booth like the world's fastest elevator.
A little double duty there. Get Kalen DeBoer, call a couple of plays with you, sprint right up to the middle tunnel. You gave me great direction, though, so you'd be my human GPS for getting to the sideline to the booth in time.
Yeah, I dropped breadcrumbs when I came up from pregame. Great hustle. We'll see Jordan next week, but in the meantime, we get to see this Alabama team up close and personal, and there was just a different mood in the facility this week, as anybody at home could imagine.
There's always a different demeanor and attitude inside the Malmore Athletic Complex, but it was different than the usual. It's always a little bit intimidating. It's always a little bit fierce. This one was more, like you stated, chip on your shoulder from everybody in that building.
Terrell Reed is the running back. They want to throw on first down, and a swing out is blown up and then finished off. Deshaun Jones was the first man there. Justin Jefferson collected the crumbs.
Oh, the weight transfer showing up. Not going to be a lack of physicality from him. Mo Lindquist, the DB coach, telling me he's going to spend most of his time at nickel tonight and anticipates that he could be somebody that makes plays in this Alabama defense, not just tonight, but moving forward.
So they got Hunter Herring in at quarterback right now. He is a dual threat Swiss Army knife type quarterback. He will line up all over the field for the Warhawks this evening. And he will keep it himself and take it forward for a gain of about 5. And that'll set up 3rd and more than 6. Herring, 11 games in his career. He's been besieged by injuries, but he's got a blocked punt, a couple of huge passes, including in their win against Troy last year. Now they'll switch it back to Armenta. Armenta
gives you a little bit more of a downfield threat, specifically with accuracy, but I'll tell you, Hunter Herring, he gives you power run ability with the quarterback position. You can go +1 in your blockers, but a little too much to pick up on this one for his playbook.
3rd down 6 for Armenta. Bama brings 4, and they get to Armenta, trying to escape, and somehow he Houdini's out of the pocket and now goes deep. It is caught down the sideline by Rico Powers, who somehow apparently stayed in bounds just shy of midfield. The officials confer it. "33-yard gain."
Rolling on the field is a completed catch for a first down.
Just a scramble drill and an excellent throw from Armenta right on the sideline. Possession yet with that toe on the ground?
Home crowd.
The ruling on the field of a completed catch is under video review.
The crowd didn't seek control, but then again, they're looking at it through biased eyes. We'll take another look. Call on the field was complete.
Just when he actually has full possession. 2 hands on the football, secure. Right hand just kind of not on the ball completely just yet. Is that toe off the ground once it does happen, which looks like it's there.
So you got that as a bobble and incomplete after a
just
second
not
play?
complete control. See that you can't give him. I don't think you give him possession of the football there until that hand comes down to the football there, and then the toe looks like it's off the ground. It's close. It's really close.
So they'll take further look at it. Armenta did a fantastic job getting out of trouble, even to get it away, and avoiding a sack.
And there's a nice job up front by Quay Russo, number 4 off the edge. That was that 4-down look that Kane Womack said we'd get more of. He crashes down inside. James Smith loops around, and he's right there in Armenta's face, but just scramble drill allows an open receiver down the sideline, and it's going to be a judgment call of, are you allowing that possession with both hands not necessarily clamped onto that football?
Yeah. I don't think it was secure until his right foot came up. But ULM could use a break here. They've only got 1 win in their history against a top 25 team. That came against an Arkansas team that was in its first year without Bobby Petrino. And in that game, the Warhawks converted 8 of 9 4th-down attempts.
Well, it helps when you have a quarterback you can go empty that can run the football, and Colton Browning, he was a freaking warrior.
After video review, the ruling is an incomplete pass. The receiver did not establish firm control with the body part down inbounds. It's 4th down.
Ryan Benson is the ULM head coach. He's got plenty of experience in this state. In fact, he was coaching down at Spanish Fort High School in 07 when the Warhawks came in here and handed Nick Saban a loss. Asked him what he remembered from 07 being in state. Such a huge storyline, and he gave us the full rundown on how the JV team had done the year before, what their varsity team was up to, and the perfect
number 30 for Alabama is reporting for number 27.
The perfect explanation and example of a coach having blinders on.
I thought he completely missed the question.
That's right. Another punt for Mackenzie Ryan. Cole Adams stands at his 42. Now from the 41. Looking for a seam. Now he's got the sideline. Adams trying to beat the punter, and he gets waylaid. Wow! Mackenzie Ryan take a bow. 40-yard punt. 37-yard return, and one smash hit by Mr. Punter, Mackenzie Ryan.
I guess I'm not going to be able to make fun of punters on the show Monday morning. Watch this. Ooh. I mean, that's like a Bradshaw clothesline. Vince McMahon would be proud.
Wow. Absolutely depleted it.
No attempt at wrapping up. No attempt at a normal tackle. Just sprints a sideline clothesline. Do as much damage as usually possible.
He's a former Aussie Rules player, so he knows how to bring guys down with or without pads. Here's Richard Young. And Young is able to pick up 3 on 1st down.
That's how they tackle there? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's how they tackle.
Noted.
And they don't have face masks either.
I like the mix from Ryan Grubb. Inside runs, zone runs, downhill runs, and then gap scheme runs on the perimeter. Some of the quick throws as well. Doing a nice job mixing and matching the play calling here early for Ty Simpson.
And the shift prior to the 2nd and 7 play. Bernard in motion. Simpson's going to roll. Change the direction. And second man got him. Billy Pullen turned him around, and then Simpson took a shot.
Pullen, a senior on this defense, was here a year ago, been in the scheme, understands it. Excellent recognition. Played flat down the line of scrimmage. Stop, retract to that quarterback trying to fool you out on the perimeter. Excellent job. That's textbook defense by number 5.
And Marcus Ross cleaned it up. Simpson directing some traffic now. Leaves him with 3rd down and 11. Play clock at 1. Here's pressure from the edges. Simpson stands tall, delivers a strike for a 1st down. Lazier Brooks showing out early. Gain of 18.
I guess we're beginning to see why Kalen DeBoer sort of lit up when he was telling us about this young man, the juice that he's got. But watch Richard Young, bam, right there at running back. An excellent job picking up the blitz, staying with it, pushing it past the pocket, allowing Ty Simpson to step up and deliver a strike to the youngster Brooks.
Brooks already with 3 catches for 42 yards. This is the 3rd possession of the night for Bama.
I'll tell you all you need to know about Brooks, Tom, is David Blue, the strength coach, said he's hit over 23 miles an hour on the GPS multiple times for this football team. That is insane speed.
1st and goal. Toss to Young. And he plows forward for a couple. This will be 2nd and goal now from the 3. What can you learn about an offensive line here? 2nd and goal from the 3.
One, this defensive line is undersized, so they're going to give you movement. Can you pass things off? Can you have that nonverbal communication of knowing where someone may end up as opposed to where they're aligned initially? And that comes with reps together, working together, recognition of what you believe you're going to get, and then just can you get latched on and move people back, find a way to pick up some of those dirty yards. A big 70 in the game here at an up back spot.
Here's Young, and they're just paving the way. It's a 3-touchdown 1st quarter for Alabama. William Sanders playing the role of road grader.
Saw a little bit of that one at practice yesterday. Kind of thought to myself, okay, short yardage, extra offensive lineman in the game, that could be fun. I think that was probably fun for Sanders and company on that short yardage effort.
Talty's had a busy 1st quarter and sneaks that one inside the upright. The redemption tour starts today for the Crimson Tide. And big number 70 is leading the way. Bama up 21-0.
You already know Kay in studio. How about a couple of updates? Oklahoma, Michigan, big game in Norman, opening drive. Deion Burks takes the little pop pass from John Mateer to the house. 7-zip Sooners. Mateer did just throw a pick, so it's Michigan football. We'll keep you posted. Mississippi State has lost 8 straight against AP-ranked teams. Anthony Evans, the touchdown catch from Blake Shapen. They've added a field goal. How about them Bulldogs up 10-zip, guys?
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Here in Tuscaloosa, another line drive knuckleball kickoff. And this one handled inside the 30. Let's take you back to 2007. Charlie Weatherby said the biggest win of my head coaching career. Alabama in their backyard, great for our program, great for ULM, the whole city, and the whole conference. Bama was favored by 25 in this game. Calvin Dawson ran for 91 yards on 33 attempts. Bama held scoreless in the 2nd half. John Parker Wilson threw a couple of picks. One of their 4 wins against Power 4 opponents. Aiden Armenta hands it off. Here's Zach Palmer-Smith.
I can tell you, Tom, as a resident in this state on that day, one from a college football perspective that folks will just always, I don't think, ever truly be able to believe that it happened. You just didn't know what you were watching, which, by the way, I felt like we were watching 1927 footage there with the dirty windshield game.
The dirty windshield. Second and 7. Flag down and a swing out to McReynolds, and he gets hog-tied immediately by Rousseau.
You see Keon Sapp flying up from his safety spot.
Illegal shift. More than one player in motion at the same time. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, Brian Vincent's team didn't have any issues last week with St. Francis. They pitched a 29-0 shutout. They got a bunch of people involved on both sides of the ball. They're one of only a handful of teams the FBS level to throw a shutout in week 1.
Well, they're just not built to live in this situation either. Second and 12. They're a run-first football team, physical team, going to build it off the stretch play.
And the quarterback Armenta keeps it and runs right into trouble. And it's Keon Sapp. And 6 tackles in Tallahassee last week, including one behind the line of scrimmage.
He had to play a little bit more than anticipated a week ago due to some pregame injuries, but Mo Ling was telling me, the secondary coach for Alabama before the game, he expects a big bounce back from this young man, number 3. So had a great week of practice, recognition exactly where it needed to be, showing up early for the Alabama defense.
Third down 12. Thought they'd converted a big third down in the last possession. Throw was just carried the receiver out of bounds by a toenail. And nothing doing with the run game here. Does not look like we'll have a repeat of that 07 experience. James Smith and LT Overton up front.
LT Overton does an excellent job of swimming inside the initial block, offering up some penetration, sneaking right between the guard and center. That's what makes that outside zone play a little bit difficult. When you have somebody that can penetrate with power, like LT Overton just did, difficult for that second lineman to take it over from the initial contact.
Adams had a great return last time before he got waylaid by the punter. This time asks for a fair catch and takes it at the 35. We mentioned that 07 game. Nick Saban, after a Dynasty Hall of Fame career, was able to laugh a little bit at what happened after the game.
I get in my car to drive home, and I don't have any gas in the car. So now I got to stop at a self-serve, put some gas in the car, and I used to wear my LSU national championship ring. So I go to pay the guy, and the guy says, "Wow, what's that ring?" And I said, "That's a national championship ring, and we're going to do the same thing here at Alabama." And the guy looks at me and says, "We'll never do it as long as that Nick Saban is the coach." So
that's why Nick Saban always goes to full serve.
So good. I love that he pointed out self-serve like there were options.
And it was unleaded. Under a minute to go in the opening quarter. For UL Monroe, we got pets. Heads are falling off. Darko, Perkins, McAllister lost his helmet. We're at Saban Field, 6 national titles here at Bama. And following that loss to UL Monroe in 07, went 224 the rest of the way. It's a Bama program that hasn't been under 500 since the last game of the 06 season. They lost to Shreveport. Independence pulled Oklahoma State. They're involved here on the 4th possession of the game, his first catch.
The culture guy, somebody that should have gotten a little bit more discussion after last week's game, Tom. I actually asked Kayla DeBoer back at SEC Media Days, tell me about tight end. You had a couple of glorified guards in C.J. Dupree, Robbie Utes a year ago. Where's the physicality going to come from? And even he was a little concerned about what it was going to look like. Number 80 stepped up big for Alabama, especially in the run game last week against Florida State.
I've been recruiting this kid since all the way back in the Fresno State days for this coaching staff.
The first quarter.
1 quarter in the books, and all seems right in the world of the Crimson Tide. We're on our way to a blowout, 21-0. Well, this screaming start for Alabama under Kalen DeBoer, reminiscent of what they accomplished against Georgia last year. A 21-point opening quarter is tied for the most under Bama's second-year head coach. And we discussed this earlier. Kalen DeBoer entered a players-only meeting yesterday morning, and his message to the team, we're told, was essentially, we're going to circle the wagons. I'm coaching with a chip on my shoulder. I want you guys to play with one as well. Here's Kevin Riley, and Riley picks up a first down and a gain of nearly 13 on first down. And listen, I know houndstooth is heavy when you're the head coach, but I feel like Kalen DeBoer has said enough with the outside noise. We are in the locker room. We are the ones that can get this done.
He's going back to doing things his way and not really wanting to satisfy anybody else or anybody outside that facility this week. And that's what needed to be done. It's what had to be done. And I think he's got those relationships with this group of players to be able to go off script a little bit, try to motivate them in a different way.
And he said, we had these discussions at times last year. Vanderbilt, Oklahoma coming to mind. That dime is complete. It's Rico Scott who gets it inside the 15. He said, but now I know these guys better. I communicate more directly. I can do it better. They can do it better with me. And the players themselves, Cole, said it's really a tight circle. A lot of them hear from former players. And at least one of them told us yesterday, hey, listen, respectfully, if you're not in the room with me right now, I don't really care what you're saying.
And that worked both ways. Deontay Lawson told us Malachi Moore, Dallas Turner reached out to him with words of encouragement and said, hey, some of it was still tough love, but it wasn't just overly negative, the message they delivered.
Perfect start for Simpson. He is 9 for 9. Straight ahead run game again. Kevin Riley one more time, and another Warhawk loses his hat. We'll have to, 2 of them lost their hats. And we got some extra pushing and shoving on the far side.
I love seeing Parker Brailsford go over there, get his guy, say, hey, making sure he's coming back to the huddle, no extracurriculars, maybe handing out a couple of invitations to the block party after this play. I'll go back to Josh Cuevas again. Just an aspect of this offense that they didn't know they were going to have. He missed some time in camp. He was a little bit dinged up, but the physicality that number 80 has added next to this offensive line has been welcomed and is going to be very useful down the road. He just popped the ULM defender's helmet off.
2 tight ends here, Cuevas and Edwards. Simpson glanced left, took it himself right, and he plunges in for the score. What a start for Alabama. Crimson Tide has scored on every possession tonight. Ty Simpson is 9 for 9 through the air, and now he's got a touchdown run.
When you get an odd defense, which just make the edges a little bit light, and both defenders out over the tackle and tight end squeeze down initially, which gives Alabama the angles necessary. And Parker Brailsford, center, leading the way for Ty Simpson and an Alabama rushing touchdown.
Could open the door to see Austin Mack the next possession. We'll wait and see. $28-0. Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer authored the most prolific offense in college football when they were together for 4 seasons between Fresno State and Washington. And they look to be back on track with the play calling and execution tonight. Grubb loves it. Pounds all the way around, including Ty Simpson. Well, it's tough sledding for Brian Vincent, who's wearing just one hat literally, but a handful figuratively. He's not only the head coach in his 2nd season, and again as an offensive coordinator, but late in the summer he took over as the interim athletic director. When we talked to him this week, I got the feeling that that interim tag may be coming off pretty soon. And it's not just fundraiser, rah-rah stuff. He's met with all of the head coaches. He's gone over budgets. There's a lot of work that goes into being an athletic director. He's the only one doing it at the FBS level, something that used to be common. Great special teams coverage, and he's dealing with a budget that pales in comparison throughout the rest of FBS football. Monroe's revenue and expenses are dead last in the country, and Alabama is top 10 in revenue, number 6 in the country, and they're number 1 in money spent.
I was very taken aback, Tom, at his quote when we asked him about this, that he said, for us to be successful, ULM has to have me as the AD moving forward.
Why did that surprise you?
I don't think a lot of coaches around college sports would want to manage that and deal with that, to be perfectly honest, with everything you're dealing with just as the football coach.
They've been to 1 bowl game in their entire program history. They haven't had a winning season since 2012. That's when they knocked off John L. Smith's Razorbacks. I misspoke earlier. They only went 6 for 7 on 4th down in that game, but won in overtime.
But I will say, it's a very interesting thought. When I first saw the news, I immediately thought to myself, with all the cost-saving efforts across collegiate athletics, could this be the direction of some different levels of college sports?
I think the key there was different levels, right? Trying to find the edge with Jake Godfrey.
I mean, I don't think that, Jeff Lebby's going to be the AD at Mississippi State anytime soon, but for the Sun Belt, for the Mountain West, for the American, is that something that could potentially be feasible down the road? Like you said, it's been done before. I don't think a lot of guys would invite it, but it's a way that you can pay your head coach more money than he wouldn't leave. Some may appreciate the power that they get with that title, and essentially they're their own boss, which probably brings more complications, depending on how the season's going.
It's going to be light on sleep if you're doing it right. 3rd down 3. Armenta has time, and now he doesn't, and it's lobbed and picked off. Intercepted by Justin Jefferson. Yanze Pierre hit the arm of Armenta as he was throwing, and Jefferson is able to pick it up.
You'll see 42, Yanze Pierre, right side of your screen. There's a twist and an excellent job of sticking with the rush, running through not only the center, but the running back. Gets a hand up, deflects that football, and allows for Jefferson in zone coverage again to not just bat the ball down this time, but actually come down with the interception.
Well, Austin Mack, as expected, is now in at quarterback for Alabama. First clean series of the 2nd quarter. Mack 6'6", 235 out of Loomis, California. Not a whole lot of miles on his tires. He didn't play much after redshirting at Washington. And his first pass is complete to Kevin Riley out of the backfield, and he gets whipped around just shy of the 30. What does Austin Mack bring to the table?
Big pocket presence, can really push the football down the field, rocket arm, and somebody who's been in this offense for multiple years.
Playing behind Michael Penix Jr. at Washington. As Riley takes it off the right side and picks up the 1st down.
Not just that, Tom, but he arrived late, so he
Prior
wasn't
to
even
the
back up.
Replay has stopped the game to review the ruling on the field. The previous play is under video review.
And as you stated, has not played much, but it's also, you go a bit further, he hasn't had a lot of reps. And I don't just mean first team reps or in-game reps, but real reps in practice. And now that he's gotten some over the last 6 to 8 months, he's made steady improvements. And Kalen DeBoer showed this last year with a guy like Gino Vandermark at guard. The player in front of him wasn't having a bad year, but he was doing so well in practice, and he continued to improve. They want to reward guys that aren't necessarily starters, that continue to improve and continue to show that they can help the football team actually get game reps. Now, save your graphics. Don't tweet out that Ty Simpson was benched. We don't need the graphics on that. That's not what this is. This was planned by Kalen DeBoer and his staff. They've done it before with other quarterbacks at other places. They want to continue to push the competition, and they want to get more guys ready to play and help the team.
Steven Sawan was the injured player. They didn't get the snap off that last play. They wanted to check the spot of this play, which should be right at the 30. Which would have been short of a 1st down. You mentioned that they've done it before. They did it just few years ago when the staff was together at Fresno State. How is it used as a motivating factor for Ty Simpson?
Okay, they did this with Jake Haener and Ben Wooldridge. I called Jake Haener today and said, tell me how this went down. Explain this to me. And he said, yeah, man, I won the job in fall camp. I was the #1 guy. I started the first game. I thought I played well. Grubb comes up to me Thursday at practice and said, Ben's going to get a series in the second quarter. And he said, I was pissed. I was furious. He said, I played that next game like my hair was on fire. And it brought a little bit more out of me. It made me go the extra mile in my preparation and my attitude, demeanor on the field. And I think that's the goal here from Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb is they thought Ty Simpson played fine. They thought he did some good things. They think there's more in there. And if something were to happen to Ty Simpson, you got to have your next guy ready. They think with what Austin Mack has done through fall camp and since the season began, has improved enough to where he deserves a little bit of time to see what he's going to do in live action as well.
You see, they needed to get to the 29 for the first down. He was down at the 30, but a bad spot initially is what was being reviewed before they tried to squeeze off another first down play.
Another thing Jake Haener told me, Tom, he said, Ryan Grubb does an excellent job of never letting his quarterbacks get comfortable. It doesn't matter if you're a 2-year starter, 3-year starter, first-year starter. He said, I bet Mike Penix will tell you the exact same thing. I would tell you the same thing. He's not just going to let you go on cruise control as the starting quarterback. He is going to continue to push you. And I think a lot of great OCs do that. They find different ways to challenge their quarterbacks and try to get them to take different aspects of their game to different levels. Here I am, the offensive lineman, filling in for the quarterback.
After video review, the runner did not reach the line to gain. The ball will be spotted at the 30-yard line. It's second down. There was also no targeting on the play by Louisiana Monroe.
So Brian Brown, the replay official, had a lot to look at there, not just the spot, but also
action.
Now we got to get the chain set. Come on, fellas.
The line to gain is the 29-yard line. It's second down. The clock will start on my ready for play.
First possession for Austin Mack, the 6'6" quarterback. And he hands it off, and they're able to pick up the first down behind the running of Kevin Riley. Right back to where we started.
Yeah, good penetration up front from the Warhawks. Cliff Mosley, big D tackle out of Henderson State. Talked to Davin Williams, their defensive line coach, was a teammate of mine at Auburn, about this D-line today. He said Cliff Mosley is as steady as they get for them. The guy they're going to be leaning on tonight for penetration and trying to disrupt some things with that run game.
Started his college career playing Division II ball at Henderson State. Mack. A bullet to Riley out of the backfield.
You're seeing what kind of weapon Kevin Riley can be tonight, Tom, but not being handed the football. Utilize out of the backfield. You have to catch the ball at the running back position in this offense. You're the primary read often. There's an entire package for that. And this young man's done a great job getting his weight up. He was floating around 180 the entire offseason. He's now up close to just under 195 to allow for a little more durability. 22 miles an hour on the GPS. He can provide that explosive capabilities out of the backfield.
From just across the river, Northport, Alabama, and Riley takes it down to the 6. We have another helmet come off, and they think that the ball came out as well, but we've had at least 4 Warhawks lose their helmets in this game.
That was a self-inflicted wound also. Jabari Tiller came in and just raked it off of his teammate.
Brian Vincent uses a timeout. I think they want to make sure this gets a further look to see if it was indeed a fumble.
The game clock operator,
plenty of time to take a look at it.
To 9 minutes and 25
Alabama,
seconds.
firm grasp on this one, up 28. Well, Ty Simpson has started this game 9 for 9 for 157 yards. He's also thrown for a touchdown, and Austin Mack has continued what Simpson has started.
Rhythm passes, quick passes out of the backfield. Play action game has been on point. I think Ty Simpson's been sharp. The decision making has looked great. When he has had a little bit of pressure, stepped right up in the pocket, deliver the football, ask him to run the ball just a little bit. Gives you some of that.
That's pretty good. This is a Bama team that is averaging 4.5 yards per carry and 9.8 yards per play.
It shows you what running the football does, Tom, and they did it on the initial drive last week and then got away from it just a little bit. That removes some of the play action passes that have been so successful tonight, forces you to be a little bit more of a drop back team, and the offensive line struggled in that department. The tackles didn't play well in straight drop back protection a week ago.
Now out of the I, Cuevas is in front of Young. They go play action, back with a bullet to the back of the end zone, and Caleb Edwards. First touchdown for Caleb Edwards, a freshman from California. It's a 6-yard strike. Edwards thought he was going to be playing basketball at the next level. And now he's got a touchdown in a Bama uniform off the feed from Austin Mack. Caleb Edwards from El Dorado Hills, California. Playing the All-America Bowl. He averaged 16 points and 8 boards a game as a high school basketball player. He showed up motivated one night when Dan Lanning was recruiting him and in the gym, and he yanked down 21 rebounds in a single high school game.
That's pretty good.
He said, I don't know. I guess I was motivated. I suppose so. Talty 7 for 7, 35-0 Bama. There's a flag down.
Running into the kicker defense. The penalty will be declined. The extra point is good.
Go back and show you what play action does, Tom. First, you mentioned Cuevas, 80, is going to be in the backfield. That probably makes the defense say, what? Oh, tight end's back there. He's going to go catch the football. The attention that comes with that from the linebackers and safeties allows for Edwards to slip north-south right up the seam. And a nice throw from Austin Mack. Excellent job putting that football in the belly of his running back, selling that play action, being deliberate, getting rid of it quickly. Not second-guess any portion of that play. And that is what the run game opens up for Ryan Grubb in the Alabama offense.
Man, I saw I formation. I was thinking joyless murder ball.
And that's why the play action worked.
100%.
Because apparently the Warhawk defense was thinking the same thing.
Good start for Edwards. Sensational start for Alabama. A little hezzy at the beginning, and flag coming in on the tail end. And that abbreviated return for ULM.
During the return, holding number 21, return team. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
You know, Johnny Manziel said something this week on Club Shay Shay, which isn't on my podcast list typically, but he brought up the fact that maybe Bama's lost its aura. You think about Mike Tyson going to Tokyo. Buster Douglas knocked his mouthpiece out and knocked Mike Tyson out of the headlines. Then the Bulls with MJ won it 6 times. He decided to go play minor league baseball up the road, and that changed things. Tiger through 2009 won 14 majors. Now there were some off-the-field issues with a couple of these fellas, but every dynasty dies at some point. Just ask the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Incomplete. Given what Bama has been over its last 10 games, not just last week, but the last 10 games, 5-5 in that span. Has the Bama program lost its aura? Is that fear in opponents' eyes when they enter the building?
Even if it is, Tom, it can be regained quickly because the memory is deep in that bank of everybody playing college football right now, how dominant this program has been at many points of their lives. They've seen it. They've lived it. They know it's in there.
2nd and 10. Zach Palmer-Smith taken down by Bray Hubbard.
There is an understanding that this team, this program, had opponents defeated before they kicked off for many years. But having said that, there were also portions of how those teams operated that had you defeated before you played them. Physically, they could overwhelm you in ways there was nothing you could do about it. And then became the speed and the athleticism and the accuracy at quarterback that there was nothing you could do about. Not every team playing against Tua or Mac Jones or Landon Dickerson was defeated because of what the aura of Alabama was. They had guys that could just kick your tail over and over and over again on the football field.
Second charge timeout.
ULM uses a timeout in advance of a 3rd and 6. Warhawks have yet to convert at 3rd down tonight. They're 0 for 4. Let's get it to our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
There's no I in team, but there is an M, an E, an A, and a T.
My favorite thing is when I tell my kids
35-0 Bama on top of Monroe. The defense has one takeaway tonight, and they've held the Warhawks to just 17 total yards on 14 plays. On 3rd and 6, quick hitter to the perimeter, and the Warhawks get their first 3rd down conversion on the completion to J.P. Coulter.
taking advantage of soft coverage there. Young man that led his conference in yards per reception a year ago, 86 per game, 2nd in all of junior college. So bring some big playability to Monroe.
Out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, picks up the initial 1st down of the game compared to 14 for Bama.
I'd like to see the Warhawks get to that stretch play here, Tom. The entire offense built around it. Going to have to try to find a way to make it go at some point if you're going to have extended success.
Dorian Lewis, a tailback. He's got a huge hole on the left side, but it closed quickly. Deontay Lawson in there to deliver the wood.
This is an important play right here, Tom. This is one that exactly number 0 failed on time and time again a week ago. Shoots the hands, removes the block from him, plays flat down the line of scrimmage with square shoulders. Deontay Lawson, that is the young man we thought we were going to get heading into this season. Didn't have him a week ago, and he gave us some reasons why that we can hit on after this play, but that was Alabama inside linebacker play right there.
Now 2nd and 9. And the swing pass out of the backfield. McReynolds, he gets blasted and taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Justin Jefferson has been all over the place for the Tide tonight.
There's some of your pursuit that you wanted that maybe wasn't where it needed to be a season ago. And I can tell you this, you're not outrunning Jefferson out in the perimeter.
Well, the timidness with which Kalen DeBoer's team played on the defensive side of the ball last week seemed like a squad that was unsure of its assignment collectively.
And we were reaffirmed not only by coaches but by players inside that facility that there was nothing that showed up in that game that they had not worked on and had not seen and had not repped.
5-man rush on 3rd and 10. Armenta escapes again. He's been under pressure all night, decides to keep it himself, and ends up picking up 4 in the scramble.
Interestingly enough, Deontay Lawson now lined up out on the edge in a little eat game, end-in tackle around. He's the penetrator, sort of starts that pass rush and allows James Smith to loop around again and have an open run at the quarterback.
Eat, end-in tackle, end.
In tackle around. Not a text, tackle end around. I don't know why Capel's looking at me like that. It's
number 30
the name of the game.
is number 27 for Alabama. Number 30.
Mackenzie Ryan to punt it away. Great punt. Hauled in by Cole Adams. It gets popped out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. 42-yard punt, 10-yard return. Ty Simpson, the captain for this Bama team, has the Tide rolling tonight. Late 2nd quarter, it's 35-0 for the home team.
I checked.
This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. 35-0. Back to Ty Simpson at quarterback for Bama after Austin Mack had a nice run. And Simpson delivers it on time to the perimeter. Isaiah Horton, who was limited in the Florida State game, had a good week of practice.
Just couldn't work his way around that block from the wide receiver, but Caden Proctor, an excellent job out there with the block as well, about 10 yards downfield.
5 touchdowns in the first 5 drives. First time for Bama since they blew out LSU in 2020. That was a 55-17 game. Mac Jones threw for 385 and 4 touchdowns. Another to the sideline, and Rico Scott gets corralled.
Well, I think I feel what Ryan Grubb's trying to do with Ty Simpson tonight, Tom, is giving him deliberate 1-2s. So instead of making him go through an entire progression or come to the line of scrimmage and diagnose everything, it's, hey, you can hand this football off, or you can turn and pitch it out to the flat the opposite direction. Make the defense make the decision for you. They want to lean one way, they want to tilt one way, turn, spit it out to one of your playmakers on the perimeter. You like the run look? Hand it off. And Ty Simpson has been deliberate with those decisions tonight.
Now 3rd and 3. Riley joins him in the backfield. Goes to Riley and gets taken out of bounds after the first down. One thing that Ryan Grubb mentioned to us in terms of the plan attack for Ty Simpson, he said was the same thing he told Michael Penix when he was at Washington. If you've got the one, meaning your first choice, take the one. Penix loved to look downfield, loved to take deep shots, and it goes to the old adage, you're not going to go broke taking a profit. If you can give 2 yards and let your guy go make a play, do it.
As my good friend Roman Harper, who is an above-average football player inside this program, says, free grass, man. When it's there, you take it.
Was he doing yoga this morning?
Probably.
To the ground game.
Also, was it 7 degrees in Columbia? He had the sweater, like it looked like he had a scarf on, turtleneck. I was like, man, winter hit quick up there in Mizzou.
Big win for the Tigers over their rivals in the border war.
How big is that rivalry? A lot of folks watching this game don't really understand just what it means, what it is.
Yeah, they literally burned Lawrence down back in the day. It was an actual war between the two. And then when they started playing college football a few years later, the survivors who fought against each other would be on opposite sidelines.
We thought poison in trees was bad.
Yeah, ain't nothing. Simpson scrambles and dials deep. Touchdown, Alabama. Flag comes flying in. Jeremy Bernard's got his 3rd of the night if it stands. On a 42-yard dash and toss by Ty Simpson, who is rocking and rolling. All for
Pass
nothing.
interference. Offense, number 5. 15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, Bernard might make the block party for this route, which gets him into the end zone eventually, but DB's just kind of lost his balance too, but just a little bulldoze. It's not Jeremy Bernard's fault he's in the way of his route.
Oh, Rubbin's racing.
It's like I tell my kid, first baseman wants to stand in the baseline, you run over him. He's 5.
Jeremy Bernard's like, it's a post route. I'm running to the post. He just happened to be in my way.
I'll tell you this, Tom. We were at practice yesterday watching Jeremy Bernard run routes. They didn't have pads on, didn't have numbers. And I went and asked a member of the staff, I said, who is this kid running routes? I said, that's Bernard. He looks like a lighter tight end when you see him running around. The physicality that he's able to bring to the receiver position, uncanny.
6'1", 204. Simpson with another short pass that they're hoping to turn into more. Had a hard time getting back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, now the Warhawk defense is beginning to jump that route. And a lot of times, as I stated earlier, the running back is the first read in this system. I think that's one of the things that the coaching staff was a little disappointed in that Ty Simpson missed a week ago. You brought it up. Take the initial read. If it's there, throw it. And those backs out of the backfield, one that maybe you had some easier yards to gain on. and taking advantage of it tonight. But now you're seeing the defense adjust a little bit, get to that flat a little bit faster.
It's 3rd and 23. Simpson, across the middle. Isaiah Horton gets taken down short. And they'll have 4 yards to pick up the first down, and will leave the offense on the field. I asked Kalen DeBoer about a specific decision that he made against Florida State, and that was when they went away from a field goal on 4th and 7 to end the 3rd quarter. And he said, well, a lot of things went into that decision. Score, time of game, kicking. He said, but the bottom line, we need 7 yards for a first down. This offense should be able to get 7 yards. 4th and 4 after the 2-minute timeout after this.
Get labor.
Moments away from the Regions Bank halftime report. Dory during Watson, Oklahoma, Michigan at the half. The Boomers are certainly yelling. Meanwhile, Florida, a little quieter at the Swamp. We will explain. And Mizzou took care of business. But this looks like an Alabama team.
How about this? 32 offensive plays for Bama, 35 points. Pretty efficient.
14 of 14 for the quarterback. I'd say that's good, too.
I would, too. We'll see y'all shortly.
$35-0. And 4th and 4. Ty Simpson delivers on time. And that's good for a first down. So a lot of reasons behind going for it on 4th and 4 for this team.
Well, you're getting zone coverage. You have an idea that your receiver's going to be able to sit down in space, find it, and Ty Simpson has shown the confidence tonight to deliver it. But I just think that this game now becomes about building confidence within your players, within the system, within each other. And you continue to ride that build on it moving forward.
Well, 15 for your first 15 doesn't build the confidence. I don't know what else you can do. Riley spins his way to a first down for Alabama.
Nice pull by right guard Gino Vandermark, and they were concerned about Riley's weight. So the reason he couldn't get on the field is he's walking around at 180. He is not afraid to get north and south.
1:15 to play in the first half. Simpson stays perfect. By the way, of note for UL Monroe, Steven Sawan, one of their linebackers who was injured earlier this quarter, was taken back to the locker room on a cart. He suffered what appeared to be a leg injury for Bryant Vincent's squad. Now 2nd and 5. Pressure from the edge. Simpson's got a lead blocker. He's got a first down. There's a flag down, and Simpson goes for the pylon. The official got knocked down, and now he says he was in. This one likely coming back. Looked like a hold at about the 19.
Number 72. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
What an effort by Ty Simpson, but all for naught.
I mean, I guess this is what you're going to call it on. I count this a good rep. Hands inside. The defender's attempting to come off, but he's also getting pancaked. So, I mean, I understand that the official brain may tell you you have to allow that defender to dislodge, be able to come over and make a play. I don't think that defender's coming off that block and making that play. To me, that felt like domination.
You like the way Brailsford's played so far?
I think he's the best player on this football team, and I think he's the best center in college football.
2nd down 16. They flip Cuevas to the right side. Brailsford stands tall at that center spot, man-to-man. Simpson fires. Corner! Touchdown, Alabama! Isaiah Horton! Just a beautiful play all the way around. Ty Simpson has started this game 17 for 17.
I think the most impressive part of this may be he brings the eyes down to leave the pocket. He's going to turn into a runner. They come back up late, and he had to deliver a strike to fit this in between the coverage. Hit some zip on that football. Accurate throw. Nice play by Horde to be able to get in. That's big-time play from Ty Simpson.
Saw Ryan Williams on the sideline. He's out for tonight's game with a concussion. Was not a participant in practice yesterday for Alabama and was in a non-contact jersey, but barely on the field on Thursday.
Go back and watch Simpson here. He leaves. You see the eyes come up just again late on the run. Defender almost in his face, right where that ball had to be, in between the corner and the safety.
Well, if you want to put a number on how good the start is for Ty Simpson, you can put ever at the end of it, because no Alabama quarterback ever has started his game 17 for 17.
Not even McElroy.
Who? Most consecutive completions to start a game in Bama history. Add in 3 touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground. What a bounce back performance for Ty Simpson and really this entire offense.
There's no doubt. I go back to what Jay Kaner told me on the phone, who played at Fresno State, quarterback for Grubb and DeBoer. They pulled the same move with him, and it lit a fire under him that he did not expect to have at any point in that season.
Had a great visit with Ty yesterday. Peter Nataro handling the kickoffs. He talked about the ability to leave in this transfer portal era, and he said, I had so many guys in front of me. I'm not the first one to go down this track. I saw what happened with Brian Robinson. I saw how Mac Jones handled things. It's not unique that I'm staying here because I believe in what I can do and the opportunities that are in front of me.
I also think, Tom, a lot of people just feel like that leadership is just handed over at this program, and I think specifically at this program, it's as far from that as possible. It's earned here. You don't get it because you're a senior. You don't get it because you're a 3-year starter. You get it because of how you carry yourself, handle yourself, and how you perform.
Warhawks trying to get to the locker room, and man, they paid a price to do that. Dylan Howell. Pardon me, Nikhil Hill-Green. What a lick, and I don't think ULM. Well, maybe they're going to take one more snap before the end of the half.
But that's the stretch play that's got to go.
You going to interview somebody on their way into the locker room, or you going to take the night off? It's only the second first down of the game for ULM. Coming up at the half, you can watch the live performance from the $1 Million Band on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming on the ESPN app. A sigh of relief collectively for Alabama fans. Everything is back to normal through one half tonight. It's a 42-0 lead for the Crimson Tide, who are trying to even their record on the season. Monroe will get the ball to start the second half. Bama quarterbacks a perfect 20 for 24 touchdowns. Ty Simpson and Austin Mack have been sensational. So is Dari Noka.
Well, that's too.
As we get set for the second half, Ty Simpson was perfect in the first half. In fact, both Alabama quarterbacks were perfect in the first half, and it is a 42-0 lead for Alabama. Here, look at the numbers. A perfect 20 for 20 with 4 passing touchdowns between the two. Can't get much better than that. And no return for the Warhawks. Tom Hart alongside Cole Kublik. As I mentioned, Jordan Rogers has the night off. No nights off for you, and that includes Read and React Monday night.
We got Roman Harper in studio with me every Monday night on the SEC Network, where we're going to go through and tell you what we like, didn't like about certain teams. But Read and React from the first half, we wanted to see this Alabama defense be physical. Deontay Lawson is going to play. Watch the shoulders stay square first and foremost. This is the Alabama linebacker play that we expected. Straight down the line of scrimmage, shoulder square, take on the block, shoot your hands, and get your face mask in and eye and the ball carrier and make a play. And he admitted to us, Tommy, when we met with him, said, I questioned the knee a little bit. There was some doubt there, and it's understandable coming off an ACL reconstruction.
Aiden Armenta delivers a strike for a first down in the first play out of the locker room. How does it, you went through that as a player as well. How does that doubt impact you on game day?
You just don't know. And you've been through practice and you've been full speed in practice. Games are always different. You've heard me say it before. First couple games of the year, you play 3 plays and it's like, did we even condition? You're just gassed. There's a different intensity level, especially with the kind of game that they played last week. And if there's any doubt, if there's any question of, is this knee going to hold up? And you saw the way he played a couple of blocks. It made sense to me when he explained it to us when we met with him, why he physically played a couple things the way that he did. Hopefully that's now behind him. He keeps playing like that. He's going to be one of the best in the SEC.
He said, I got a game under it now. Got to trust it. And whistle pre-snap.
Timeout. Louisiana Monroe. First charge. 30 seconds.
Brian Vincent is trying to get to midfield. They haven't done that yet tonight. As his return to this state, longtime high school coach in a couple of different spots, both at UAB and South Alabama, where he was with Kane Womack, both as coordinators. What's in it for ULM in this second half?
You got to go out and prove that you can put some things together and move the football. The stretch play, as I stated earlier, that's the foundation of this offense. Everything's built off of it, and they haven't been able to get it going. So different formations, maybe different movement out of some different alignments. Got to get some high percentage throw going as well. Your quarterback needs a little bit of confidence if you're going to find offense in this second half.
Aiden Armenta 4 for 8 for 23 yards. Yeah, more picks than touchdowns as a starter last year after he took over a few games into the season. Now first down, nothing doing. Swarmed. James Smith, first man there.
Tom, I think he has the potential to be the most disruptive player on this Alabama defense. Actually, Coach Blue, the strength coach, if you could measure grip strength and where he would kind of fall, he said we didn't really do anything with that. We worked it a lot, but he said, I know what you're seeing because I've seen this man throw some weight around. I think he's got some of the strongest hands in college football, and ripping through that offensive line again, not allowing a double team combo at the line of scrimmage on the outside zone play, disruption in the backfield.
6'3", 297 for number 23 in crimson. 2nd and 12, draw. Braylon McReynolds with the carry.
So that's ULM's sprint draw package that they have. It looks exactly like it does when the quarterback will sprint one direction and look for something either down the field or to the near sideline. So the offensive line will just kind of pause that protection, wall off the defenders, and you sneak the draw back underneath it. That's great recognition by the second level of Alabama defenders to know where that football is headed.
Remember, Monroe lost his star running back, Ahmad Hardy, who was a Sun Belt Freshman of the Year last year. He's now at Missouri. He scored the first touchdown of the day for the Tigers in their win against KU.
He's really good.
Really, really good. Had a delay there and a swing out to McReynolds. Ray Hubbard couldn't bring him down, and so Keon Sabb picked it up. Yeah, Hardy went for a $112 and a touchdown on 25 carries for Missouri today.
Well, and the advantage that he has with Eli Drinkwitz is he's been running that stretch play here in this offense, and there's a feel for it. They went and got Nate Noel from App. He comes in, has a great year for the Tigers a season ago, and I can remember it was game 4 or 5. I actually called Brian Vincent last year. I said, Coach, who is this running back? He goes, yeah, you like him? He goes, we probably won't have him long. But it gives you an idea. Brian Vincent was not afraid to say, hey, we know what's probably going to happen with this showman the way he's playing.
Bama shut out Missouri in that stretch play last year, and Tide will head to Faurot Field on October 11th, the middle of their SEC gauntlet. 42-0 Bama.
Off the play action early began to set that tone that was going to be a big part of how this offense operated. Ryan Grubb allowing Ty Simpson to call his own number, getting Parker Brailsford and a couple of the big offensive linemen out front leading the way. The protection's been solid, much better than it was a week ago, specifically with some of the one-on-one matchups from the Alabama offensive linemen.
Simpson 17 for 17. Looks like his heavy lifting is done for the night. Austin Mack getting another series here. And they'll run it off the right side and have a big gain for Kevin Riley. Bama quarterbacks combined to go 20 for 20 in the first half. First time in the FBS that's happened since Washington State did it against Montana State in 2017. Bama is the first SEC team to do this in the first half of the last 20 years.
2017, Minshew?
Sounds about right. Who was quarterback for Montana State that year?
Gronowski.
Yeah, Bobcat legend. Pressure. Mack gets away from it and goes straight ahead. Took a lick.
There's the inside move again against Caden Proctor. It's a very aggressive set, specifically when you have the tight end staying at home with you. And the tight ends were actually really nice, helping out in protection a week ago. Proctor does not have to set out that wide. Just one, he needs to have a full understanding of what the entire protection is other than just his own. Inside move's been giving him some trouble this year, though.
Yeah, he allowed a career-high 6 pressures against Florida State last week. Interesting talking with Ryan Grubb about Proctor's game. He loves to try new things. Mack escapes pressure there. They had him by an ankle. That wasn't enough. And then he steps out of bounds. And he said, sometimes let's just focus on the fastball. All right, let's not worry about having a 7-pitch repertoire. Let's keep it simple. Let's focus on the fastball and then move from there.
It used to be, Tommy, you had a quick set, you had a deep set, and that was about all you brought to your repertoire. Now it's you got the single arm stab, the inside stab, you got a hinge, you got a deep set, a quick set, a half set. And sometimes you outthink yourself. Just get the guy blocked.
I'd never thought of an offensive lineman overthinking the game until Ryan Grubb walked us through that.
It's very common, specifically in pass pro.
On 3rd and 6, here's Brooks again. The freshman is having a splash tonight. Lazier Brooks filling in for Ryan Williams, and he has made it a night. That's his 4th catch for 58 yards.
So when we saw Ryan Williams be moved a little bit more in that opener against Florida State, Brooks going to be more of an inside receiver. Now, if you have that kind of twitch inside with the ability to move that young man around still, and Ryan Williams, his receiving core trending up for the Crimson Tide.
The feet of Young.
And Parker Brailsford again, just a nice double team, slamming that defensive tackle over so the guard can take him on and then getting up to the second level.
Thanks, Matthew Williams chiming in. It was Luke Falk who was a quarterback for Washington State in 17.
Air raid, same thing. Put you there, you could complete 17 in a row.
Slinging MacBooks all weekend. What's wrong with a pigskin? 2nd and 6. It's Kevin Riley. Another helmet coming off. What can we I know the budget is a little light at ULM. We showed you the numbers earlier, but can we just get chin straps at work?
I don't know if
it's at least the 5th tonight.
I don't know if I blame the manufacturer or the equipment room. There's certain guys, they want to leave that thing loose because they think it looks cool.
Well, cool about having to sit out a play. It was 3rd and 2. They found 1. And let's see what they do with 4th down coming up. They'll keep the offense on the field. They already converted 1, and they're going to get a little bit bigger with William Sanders entering for an extra O-lineman.
Be careful here because Sanders was coming flat across the line of scrimmage on that split zone action, so you'll run kind of zone to the right. He'll come flat across the line of scrimmage to the left. And if you're not careful and you're at the bottom of your screen, you get a little too far upfield. Look at him. He's out split wide here. How beautiful is this?
300-pound locomotive.
Oh, no.
Crushing. And it's a 1st down run.
Oh, jeez. It's a page out of the Harbaugh playbook. We saw Harbaugh do this at Michigan a couple of times. You put a big offensive lineman, then Penn State started doing it. You get some decleaters this way, but you get big 70. Look how pretty that is, Tom.
I'm glad you circled that because I wouldn't have been able to find it.
330 is tough to find in the slot, and you just don't want any of that one. I'll tell you, though, I will give Dylan Howell credit. He faced it up and took it on.
Austin Mack at a Folsom High School in California, and the first miss of the night for either quarterback. Overshot his man. They're now 21 of 22 through the air.
A little amped up on that throw. Austin Mack could poise in the pocket, but that's one you just take a little bit off of. Put some air underneath it. Let your receiver adjust if he needs to. Go make a play.
Off tackle, Daniel Hill.
Cam Dewberry has been exceptional with the kick out blocks on counter power tonight, and another example of just digging a defensive end out of the hole. A little bit of leakage from the backside ends up making that play, or else that one could have been out the gate. Daniel Hill, Tom, 6'1", 244. He is a 750-pound squatter. The lower body, Saquon-esque.
On 3rd and 6. Able to swing it out. And it's dropped. First opportunity for Pritchett tonight. Love to have that one back, I'm sure. So the first field goal attempt is the first drive that doesn't end in 6 for Bama. This is a 47-yard attempt for Blake Talty. He was short from 53 on Saturday. And we got whistles pre-snap.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete forward pass is under video review.
Just when the Warhawks thought they had a stop. Did he catch this? Yeah.
Didn't see the ball hit the ground.
I didn't see much of a protest from Pritchett when it was ruled incomplete.
Or any. May have some words right there. He's like, buddy, I caught that. Thanks.
Stake my claim.
He did tell his teammate, though, that he caught that football. Like you said, Tom, ULM thinking finally get a break, finally get a stop, forced a field goal attempt, and now it appears as though this one can go back against them as well.
And now they'll go back and see exactly where he stepped out of bounds. He advanced inside the 30. And looks like, I think the other question is, where's the whistle? It looked like it was about at the 27. They need to get down to the 23 for the first down. Well, the start for Ty Simpson, going 17 for 17. The most completions without an incompletion in a game in SEC history. And for all of FBS, he's the 3rd FBS player to go 17 for 17 or better in a game in the last 30 seasons. Zach Wilson did it against Western Michigan, an 18 for 18 performance for BYU, and Garrett Schrader at Syracuse did it against Wagner in 22, going 17 for 17.
Garrett Schrader, the helicopter man at Mississippi State.
Yep.
So no SEC quarterback has gone 17 for 17. Not even Jordan
After
Rodgers.
video review, the ruling is a completed catch. The ball will be placed at the 28-yard line. It's 4th down.
Assuming Simpson is done for the night, what message was he able to send with his performance tonight?
I think confidence and quick decision making, the ability to execute plays that they're drawn up with urgency. I think there was a little bit of pause in a couple of his throws, a couple of his drops last week. He would admit that. A couple of times ball could have gotten out a little bit faster. Maybe a couple of times he saw the protection a little bit more quickly than he needed to. He was decisive tonight. They had him on the run. They had him carry the football, had him push the football down the field, play action, turning his back to the defense, asked him to do a lot of different things. And it felt like this coaching staff got maybe exactly what they wanted, Tom, and that was a little bit more out of Ty Simpson.
46-yard attempt now for Talty after the review and the spot. And that one is just inside the upright, fades in Salty did not have a good warm-up tonight, pregame, but he has been perfect in game. Bama halfway to 90.
DeBoer knew what this job was. He knew he'd have to walk past statues of Bear Bryant and Nick Saban to go to work every day. Now the eyes of the Bear, the GOAT, and everyone else in the Yellowhammer State are upon him. And if he can turn this around, he will have truly earned his place among them.
Cole, a couple of years ago, we were here for Bama's opener. Then we went. I went to Yankee Stadium for a game on that Labor Day Monday. And I was talking with Aaron Boone about how Nick Saban had to motivate a little bit differently than he did, and vice versa. Aaron Boone can't grab Giancarlo Stanton by the buttons and scream at him like Saban could if a guy wasn't.
He wouldn't be in the lineup anyway.
Probably wouldn't be. And Aaron Boone had a term that he used that day, and he's repeated it. And he said the pinstripes are heavy. Meaning the pressure to win the last game of the season when you're the manager of the New York Yankees is unmatched by most, except right here in Tuscaloosa. It's the only game in town. Let's get to the studio checking with Dari.
All right, Tom, going to give you a couple. How about Oklahoma? They gave up the big 75-yard touchdown to start the second half, but bounced back. John Mateer with a touchdown run, 21-7 over Michigan, but Michigan just recovered a muffed punt by the Sooners. Watch this catch. Trey Richardson for Vanderbilt. Commodores have come back from 20-10 down to lead Virginia Tech in Blacksburg by 3, guys.
A pretty good day for the league if the Doors can pull that one off in Blacksburg, and Oklahoma can hold on for sure. But going back to the comp between the Yankees and Alabama football, houndstooth is heavy. Like the expectations here are unlike anywhere else in sports. And so I think Kalen DeBoer certainly was aware of that, but you don't really feel it until you get here.
No, you don't know what it is or how it's going to be, one, until you are in it, you live it, it's yours. And then I think even now, Tom, this thing got toxic faster than any other Alabama loss or bad performance that I have lived through. And I've lived through, not a ton, but a couple of tough seasons and tough losses. Now with social media, now with more people covering games, talking about games, this thing got ugly fast. And I think that's why some of what you discussed earlier about the attitude, demeanor that Kalen DeBoer took inside his facility with his players, changing some things up, maybe allowing his players to see a different side of his personality, because he knew. He didn't want that to get to them to the extent that he knew that it could. I think he can handle it. He knows what it is. Like you said, he knew what this job was going to be when you took it. But people talking about your buyout after the first game of the season, I don't think he ever anticipated that.
No. 3rd and 14, and nothing doing on the left side. I was joking with him after practice on Thursday. He had the group gathered around him on the first field behind the Mount Moore building. And as he was talking to his team about focus and staying dialed in and working with each other and being accountable and all the things you would expect for a coach to talk about after a loss, just then 5 helicopters cruised right over the practice fields that were rehearsing the flyover from before the game tonight. And we were joking afterwards. I said, you know, you could have told him. He said, I said to focus, don't even look at the choppers, right? If everybody was dialed into his message. And my joke was, you could have said, hey, they're coming at us from all angles. Like, we are under attack, fellas, from everywhere, even inside our own fan base.
Kick catch interference.
Another kick catch interference against
22.
The Warhawks. 15-yard
penalty from the spot of the foul.
45-0. Alabama looking to even its record after forcing another 3 and out. See who's at quarterback when we return. Now, maybe Ty Simpson's dad is doing that because his UT Martin team is on the road at Texas El Paso tonight, and they got a weather delay at the Sun Bowl in Utah. So dial up the iPad, check in on little boy, and boy, he's doing pretty well. 17 for 17 tonight. Bama has gone deep. They've had 5 different running backs tonight, including Dre Washington getting his first carry.
And one thing hasn't changed, though, is Parker Brailsford. You're going to see him pull around here. Watch just the athleticism, snap the ball, get outside. He would end up hooking that defender, so it means he gets actually play side in front of that defender, able to wall him off. He's got some Dermontti Dawson in his game, his lateral quickness, ability to get out in space. Just a phenomenal football player.
Your eyes lit up when we had a chance to meet with Parker yesterday.
I left. I just said I'll go meet with him somewhere else.
Yeah, you guys left the meeting, had a one-on-one. I got the sense after we talked about his style of play and the evolution of his level of intensity that he brings a certain grittiness to the position this year that maybe he hadn't shown in years past.
He hadn't, and I watched every snap of his at Washington. Aaron Taylor of the Joe Moore Award Committee that I'm on, and we took that trophy to his Washington football team. He won it. He didn't play with a lot of the nasty that he does now, and I asked Coach DeBoer, I asked Coach Grubb, I said, how much of that do you think was Tyler Booker running off on him last 2 years? And he said, absolutely, 100%. When I asked Parker that, he said, no, I mean, I feel like I kind of always had this. I was like, no, man, it's a little bit different now than it was. He just has a little more extra at the end of plays, a little more physicality.
Yeah, it is.
He did tell me, he said, I will say, watching Book play here, he goes, I didn't think like legally you could get away with some of the stuff he was doing to people in this uniform, but you can. So
Ryan Grubb said it was the best camp for an offensive lineman he had ever seen. Another lost hat. This time it's Levante Jacobs. And to your point, that's the guy who coached the best offensive line in the country just a couple of years ago in Washington.
Tom, there were a lot of negatives to take away from that Florida State game, and there were a few positives some people pointed out. The one that I became increasingly frustrated with was nobody was talking about 72. I thought he played the best game of his career against Florida State. He was that good.
Here's the problem when you say nobody. Like, you can talk about it. You have a radio show and a TV show, and you're on air every Saturday night, so it's not nobody if you're doing it.
Kind of is, but that's all right. I appreciate your support, but I did talk about it, and I tried to tell people that this young man was sitting down on nose guards one-on-one, a zero nose, and he would just sit on them in pass protection. He was getting out in space, picking up linebackers. The combo blocks were devastating at the point of attack. It was unfortunate the offense couldn't be more successful behind that, but he played exceptional football, and Ryan Grubb said, you know what, you're probably right. That was probably the best football game he's ever played.
There was some confusion because the chain gang was a little bit late. It was a first down. Austin Mack getting some valuable reps.
And to follow that up, Tom, the cool part about having that conversation with Grubb and DeBoer was sort of where it went next. And it was, yes, Parker Brailsford took some of that from Tyler Booker, and now they're seeing some of Parker Brailsford rub off on the other offensive linemen, specifically Caden Proctor, who's needed a little extra oomph, hasn't been through the last 2 spring practices.
Look at this, a catch and run for Cole Adams. Great play by Adams.
Coming off play action again, Austin Mack, just nice quick delivery, accurate. Ryan Grubb moving the pieces around to be able to find uncovered receivers.
Hand off to A.K. Deere, and he takes it inside the 5. You think this is the last rep for the starting 5 on the O-line?
I think so. I think you would like nothing more than with almost under 120 left in the 3rd quarter to allow this group, who played phenomenal football tonight, to just dominate one more score into the end zone and then call it an evening.
Second and goal. Toss. And maybe a yard for Dre Washington. Bama's rolled 5 different running backs in tonight.
And they like a lot of these young men too. Dre Washington, I watched his Raging Cajun film and kind of started wondering why. I know the whole portal rankings and this and that. Why he's the best this in the portal. How do we even know? A lot of the guys in the portal have never played. You're just basing it on their recruiting stars. I didn't feel like he was getting any discussion really. And you watch him get to the open field. He could run away from people. He could run people over. I thought he was a very valuable get for Kalen DeBoer.
Mack pulls it back, shot to the end zone, and a touchdown for Josh Cuevas. Second of the year for the Bama tight end. Second passing touchdown for Austin Mack.
This pull protection that Alabama just ran off the play action there did not work well against Florida State. That ball actually tipped a little bit at the line, but almost like a little jump hook there from Austin Mack. You see the height that he provides in the pocket.
And a line drive point after. 52-0. Let's take a look at Fansville. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Excitement and expectation may have changed over to trepidation, but you wouldn't know it outside the stadium. They're fired up for this one. Even the AO Pie Dads were ready to rock and roll.
It's Alabama, Tom. We love our football here. Team can lose, team can disappoint us, no matter what corner of the state. We love football.
Short kick and a fair catch taken at the 10.
I don't think we've seen a traditional kickoff all night.
No, we haven't.
From either team.
So Alabama looking to keep the shutout intact. Kane Womack's team has done a great job. He was talking about the Florida State game, and he said that nobody knows Gus Malzahn's stuff better than me. His dad was on Gus's staff. His dad down on the field pregame and around this program every day. Longtime coordinator in the SEC. It's a matter of execution for the most part. Hello. Bray Hubbard and company.
When you mentioned chips on shoulders, Tom, you know that young man is someone who came into this game with a little something to prove.
This is
caught a lot of criticism in the last 7 days.
To the fourth we go. Alabama up 52-0. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, where Alabama has won 82 consecutive games against non-conference foes, and the rush defense has been turned up a notch tonight. Now 4 rushing touchdowns against Florida State, undone by a running quarterback, and only 38 yards allowed on the ground tonight.
Keep in mind too, Tom, still no Tim Keenum, no Jamarian Latham for that Alabama front tonight.
Is that stretch play, and Braylon McReynolds is able to find about 10 yards. That'll set up 3rd and short. They're down 2 coming up. Quarterback wants to keep it himself, and there's a first down run by Hunter Herring. 6'5", 230 out of West Monroe. Played for the Raging Cajuns before he came over to Monroe. He accounted for nearly 5,000 yards in high school, 82 touchdowns through the air, and set the state championship game record with a 7-touchdown performance.
The craziest part that you brought up earlier about some of the things that he's done, he's thrown some passes, caught some passes, but a block punt on top of that is just silly. The versatility this young man has.
Got a couple of reps at quarterback tonight. And now back to Armenta. Over the middle and a little short.
I'm not sure if that was short for
long.
That receiver or overthrown on that dig route over the middle of the field. It's one of the things I love about this offense that Brian Vincent runs. Everything is married together. Every formation has multiple options. Everything that you see on the field, it makes sense as to the how and why of when it operates. But the run game has to get going early. I asked Bill Clark, former UAB head coach, about Brian Vincent and his offense. He said, we love the physicality.
Oh, and the ball came loose. It was jarred out of there. And now it's scooped up with a chance for a rumble inside the 20-yard line. QB Reese living up to the name. Second takeaway tonight for Alabama.
Now, big fumble recoveries must run in the family. Helmet, meet, ball.
Looked like Drake Kirkpatrick forced it out.
A couple of names familiar with SEC programs in this state. Dad, obviously one of the best DBs to play in the Saban era. And QB Reese, his dad Quentin played football at Auburn as well.
Here's Keelan Russell, now quarterback for Alabama. And Russell wants to keep it. Picks up a tough yard on the perimeter. So we've seen the present. Now we get a look at the future.
And those wheels are something that he's going to be able to provide too. Explosive capabilities on the ground with this young man.
6'3", 194 from Duncanville, Texas.
Well, and that improvement that we mentioned with Austin Mack, Coach Grove, Coach DeBoer saying the same thing about Keelan Russell, saying this young man's made gigantic strides since he's been on campus.
Russell to throw, and just a hair high. And I thought one of the interesting parts, whether it was talking about Russell or Mack, it was the idea that if you're a backup quarterback, you have so much room to grow, and you are unencumbered by the pressure of the position. You just go out there and work.
Yep.
Nobody's posting about you. Nobody's on your back in terms of what you did or didn't do in the game before.
Well, a lot of times your mistakes are made over on scout team. Your mistakes are made with the third or the fourth team. They're not noticed by near as many people at practice even.
Russell, unanimous 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Stutter steps and delivers on time to Cole Adams. He's in. 3 different quarterbacks have thrown a touchdown for Alabama tonight.
Or the ability to hit the brakes, reset, and release this football from Keelan Russell, beyond impressive.
Peter Notaro is handling the kicking duties now since he got into the 50s. And 59-0 lead. Who's behind door number 3 for Kalen DeBoer's quarterbacks? It's Keelan Russell, and a fantastic freshman cashes in on his first drive for Alabama. If Notre Dame can lose in Northern Illinois and make it in the playoff, and Al can go up backwards, heads up, coming right at you. Well, it'll be a big turnaround because all of the pundits thought the sky was falling here.
If Nick Saban watched this tape back yesterday, he would kick some of the kids off the team. That's how bad it was.
Saturday was like a waking nightmare.
Punch him in the mouth early, and he doesn't know what to do.
I don't want to hear all of these lame excuses about Alabama football. It's over, DeBoer.
They look soft. DeBoer looks clueless at times. It feels like a house of cards.
Well, that foundation looks a lot more stable now. And everything came up aces for Kalen DeBoer on both sides of the ball tonight. A couple of takeaways. 3 different quarterbacks have thrown a touchdown pass.
And it won't be over, Tom. It's not going to stop there. A lot of folks are going to tell you, okay, this week you get back on track. Yeah, it's a Big Ten opponent coming in here the next week, but not a team that's what they have been. Proud Wisconsin program that just doesn't have the horses right now. Georgia is when we're going to find out. Georgia is what we have to see. You're still going to get that narrative from a lot of folks, and some of it's fair, but they also came out tonight and answered the bell.
To the ground game, and Jonathan Bibbs. Of note tonight, 3 quarterbacks throwing a touchdown pass for Alabama. First time since 2018 against the program from the University of Louisiana in Lafayette. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones. The last time 3 quarterbacks threw a touchdown pass in one game for Alabama.
Looks like it worked out for them.
They're down 4. To the slant. Oh, goodness gracious.
Don't feel like it was factory default as to why that helmet came off.
No, that was a Pez dispenser hit. Just popped right up the top. Dre Kirkpatrick.
Maybe more swag than swag. I don't think Dad did that too often.
I'm surprised they're not looking at this for targeting.
The previous play is under video review for potential targeting.
It would cost them the first half against Wisconsin if it's upheld. And that's a new look Wisconsin offense over the last couple of years. Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one to avoid.
Yeah. Tyler Griffin got right back up, and then he went right over to the athletic training staff. Spent a couple of years playing for UCF. Had a touchdown last week against St. Francis. There. Focus on Mr. Griffin. Product of Statesboro, Georgia.
After video review, personal foul, targeting, defense number 21, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Number 21 has been disqualified from the game. Number 0's helmet was removed on the play because of the foul. He may remain in the game.
Yeah, but he may not. And he's got a laceration on his left temple.
Valuable piece of that offense. Had a nice red zone touchdown. Went up and attacked the football last week. 6'4", 210. 8 for 193 last year.
Well, with the penalty added on, this will be the first play that ULM Ford. There's a lot of promise to Sean Ford. Big recruit for ULM.
And Caden Jones coming down for Alabama, squaring him up in the hole. Some valuable reps for a few youngsters on this defense. Caden Jones, QB Reese. Kane Womack speaking very highly of a couple of these younger linebackers. They're going to need them later in the year too, Tom. Linebacker depth is something that is a real concern on this Alabama roster. You get to the grind of this schedule, they're going to need to get you some reps later in the year.
2nd and 9. Herring enters at quarterback, and that was doomed from the beginning. Zach Palmer Smith had nowhere to go. Yeah, Yanze Pierre right in his face.
Yanze Pierre cleaning it up, but 31, Keon Keeley. These are two athletic dynamos on this defense that this staff is just kind of waiting to get it all figured out because of what they feel like they can add to this front. A lot of explosive capability with those two.
Kane Womack's got a lot of equipment on. They go to the ground game on 3rd and long. Looks like some of those women walking in my neighborhood with the weighted vests.
You haven't gotten one of those yet?
I've got 3 of them myself, but that's just to sell them on the secondary market.
Stanford Steve told me his cost $280.
You better win a lot of bets. And so instead of wearing it as a belt, we just sling it over the shoulder. I'm down with that look.
Yeah. That's no different than the Merces all the kids are wearing these days.
Kids. He's got the hoodie underneath the vest. I mean, he goes full hoodie every practice anyway, so why not carry it over to the game? Leave the offense on the field. 4th and 7, down 59. A little high, and that will hurt. Herring has taken a few snaps at quarterback. Now he gets his first catch at receiver. 8:52 remaining. Warhawks need to get the ball back to have a chance. Let's take a look at the headlines around the Southeastern Conference today. Arch Manning threw for 295 and 4 touchdowns against 1 pick. Texas blew away San Jose State, got it going in the 2nd quarter. Ole Miss went on the road, a hard-fought win against Kentucky. Cats led 10-0. It's a 4th win for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, trailing by 10 or more. Twice he's done it against the Cats. Florida shocked by South Florida. 18-16 was the final in the Swamp. Anytime a team rolls out of Gramatica for a game-tying or game-winning field goal, you can go ahead and put 3 on the board, and that's what happened. Nico Gramatica got it done today for the Bulls on parade. Mbakwe with the catch and run. And that's a huge win for Golish, who's now got 2 wins against top 25 opponents as an unranked team this season.
And that's the thing, Tom. It's still a surprise, but Alex Golish brought that offense back. He brought Bryson Brown back as his quarterback. He had the most of his front 7 back. His offensive line was mainly intact. They were going to have a good football team. They proved that because Boise looked pretty good. And that wasn't a fluke that they got Boise a week ago the way that they did. South Florida, they might have a squad.
Pritchett motions to the left side. USF goes to Miami next. Hard-fought yards late in this game. Jalen Mbakwe getting a touch. Zip to the tight end, Pritchett.
Yeah, I think in a very short amount of reps here, Tom, we have full confidence in saying that Keelan Russell, even off balance, going to be able to distribute the football. We saw him on that touchdown pass, kind of begin to leave the pocket up the middle, hit the brakes, 1 step back, deliver a strike. That time almost on the run. Spits the football out quickly with great velocity. The talent hard to hide when you're watching Keelan Russell operate.
Yeah, this was part of the plan for this Alabama coaching staff. Kalen DeBoer, talking to us yesterday, went over the plan to get Austin Mack in the game in the 2nd quarter and said, I'd really love to get Keelan out there. He deserves an opportunity. And it unfolded in front of him thanks to the efficiency from the other 2 guys to start this game as Dre Washington carries on the left side. He comes in with a sterling resume. #1 quarterback in the ESPN 300 coming in, and he's 3 for 4 tonight.
Yeah, that's Kalen DeBoer and his staff signing that young man too. So Deserves credit for that.
It sure was interesting hearing a lot of the chat around this Alabama program from an NIL perspective and whether or not they were behind. You kind of raise an eyebrow as soon as you hear that stuff, and then you check the numbers. They're tied for the nation's lead in blue chip ratio. They have as many 4- and 5-stars relative to the size of the roster as anybody in the country, if not more.
I mean, you look at the roster retention too. You didn't have a boatload of players leave to the portal after last season, year one under Kalen DeBoer. So,
no, I understand that there were key players that left when Nick Saban stepped down, and maybe that's part of it where you say, gosh, if we could have kept the Caleb Downs, we could have kept a quarterback. But I think the quarterbacks have proven.
Quarterback, I think, is going to be in good hands. Yeah.
Well, the center that time.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Cole, it looked like Joseph Ionata was trying to help out Keelan Russell, get him to snap
prior
the ball.
To the play clock expiring.
Yeah, kind of waving the hand back behind him, and this is where
first charge.
Some of the details of the operation become a little bit iffy because Keelan Russell hasn't had a lot of live reps. So you forget the speed of it, you forget some of the operation of it, and it can hit quickly.
Coming down to the wire in Tuscaloosa. Well, if you missed college game day this morning, don't worry. They're going to stay in the SEC, headed to Rocky Top for Georgia and Tennessee Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern from the campus of the University of Tennessee. And that is going to be a monster matchup.
Weird to have that one so early, though.
Early in the season.
Correct.
Keelan Russell, the quarterback. And Russell looking for number 2 of the night. He's got it. Touchdown strike to MJ Sherwin.
That's about perfect. He gets to the back of his drop through the progressions, understands where he wants to deliver the football. Bam, right on the money. Just a beautiful throw from Keelan Russell.
.607 to play. 7 passing touchdowns for the Alabama offense tonight, spread among 3 different quarterbacks.
Keelan Russell understands where this one's going. Got to fit it between coverage. Not much of an issue when you can spit the football out that quickly and you're that accurate. Ryan Grubb liked it.
Mentioned that this coaching staff had a little chip on their shoulder. I think this game feels like for those guys.
It's got to feel good. And as you stated earlier in the broadcast, Tom, we talked to that staff and they said, listen, there was nothing from that Florida State team that we didn't work on, that we didn't see. Nothing really took us by surprise. And players admitted that also. Ty Simpson, Deontay Lawson shared that with us, echoed those sentiments. So to be able to come out tonight and prove that could have been a one-off, I think has to feel pretty good for this staff.
Well, Alabama had its largest drop in the AP top 25, falling all the way down to the 20s. Here's how the top 10 fared. Notre Dame, the only one didn't get a win because got a week off. South Carolina leading South Carolina State 17-3, but otherwise some romps.
At least Troy got to double digits.
Did Grambling win the Battle of the Band?
That's the question.
Mickey Andrews talking about. What a difference a week makes, huh? I mean, after the slate we had last week in college football. Hello.
Goodness gracious.
You know, a lot of people ask me about Alabama football. We have a chance to come over in years past, watch a Nick Saban practice. And I said, you know, I always tell them the same anecdote. What makes this program stand out is that everybody is invested. And it really hit home under Nick Saban because you're playing for national titles every year. And I said the first string guys are playing for the league. And most of the second string guys are freshmen. And they're next up. And then even the guys in the scout team, if they're never going to play, they're playing to wear that ring for the rest of their life when they come to Bryant-Denny Stadium and to wear that letter jacket. And everybody is invested. And that's why the level of focus, I thought, is always so incredibly dialed in, no matter who was wearing the uniform. And I think we're seeing that tonight late in this game from the guys who are third, fourth string. We're getting an opportunity to go out there and show some pride in the game.
When you hear the word standard, that's what it is. I think that's ultimately what you're defining there when you're making those reference points. And these young men work just as hard as everybody else. They're on the practice field. They're getting the reps. And a lot of times they're the ones getting beat up on by the first team offense. Now they get to get some real reps out here in front of an awesome home crowd and an awesome environment at Saban Field, at Bryant-Denny Stadium, wearing the crimson and white.
You know, Ty Simpson talked about that, and he said, I was out here running the scout team every day going against Brian Branch and Will Anderson. Like, that made me better to go against those guys every single day.
Yeah, pocket probably broke down quickly.
Uh-huh.
That's what Nick Saban just fed into this program over and over. Competition. It fueled it. And that's why Kalen DeBoer's made a few of the decisions that he has made tonight. Wants to see more of that competition continue.
Near holding and a lob out of bounds. I think there may be still some misunderstanding about what Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb were accomplishing when they found playing time in the second quarter for Austin Mack today. Can you just go over that one more time for the people in the back row?
I think first off, they've done it before. This has been something that they have leaned on in the past. They've done it with other quarterbacks at other places, and they felt like deep down inside they could get a little bit more out of Ty Simpson. 1, 2, Austin Mack deserved it. And they believe when players are having success in practice, practicing the right way, improving, that they should get those opportunities to play in games.
And I think the biggest difference, of course you're going to play your backup quarterback at some point in a game that ends up in the neighborhood of 66-0. But the idea that Mack was going to get an opportunity in the second quarter, and that was communicated to Ty Simpson on Thursday. Here's the game plan. Here's what we're going to do. And by the way, if you take 48 hours to stew on that and that fires you up, that's part of the process.
Yeah. And how did Ty Simpson handle it with us? Like a champion, like a real man would. But you could tell that it sent a little bit of a message to him that there should be no complacency here, just like there never has been prior.
He said, my career to this point has been full of ups and downs. Sometimes a good restart is good for everybody, the new coaching staff coming in. But he has stuck through it. What a performance tonight. Now 3rd and 5. Out to the edge, and a catch and run made by Hunter Harrell.
You see right there, he can do some things now. Does not move like he's 6'5", 230. It was funny, you made the Taysom Hill comp with the coaching staff when talking about him, and I'm like, this guy's 2 inches taller and probably 10 pounds heavier. But he moves in a similar fashion. He Swiss Army knife is what Brian Vincent called it.
I didn't have hurdles on his resume, though. That's something new. And the Graves going deep, looking for the end zone. It is knocked away. It's Cam Calhoun in on another play as Bama tries to preserve the shutout.
Unfortunate there that ball may have been a little bit late because had a step on the way to the end zone. Couldn't come down with it, but 66-0. As you stated, this is probably what, the 4th or 5th play in Alabama territory tonight for the Warhawks?
Yeah, 5th. And now it's Landon Graves, who's taken over quarterback, 3rd-year sophomore out of Monroe. 3 attempts last week against St. Francis. He also saw the field against Texas last year, and the #1 team in the country. Ball came loose. Bama's got another takeaway. Indeed. Crimson Tide football.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Alabama.
Not going to be QB Reese now with a fumble recovery and a forced fumble. Yep. 36 coming in there, popping that thing out. His dad's here in attendance tonight from West End High School. His dad was a top 10 player in the state, top 10 basketball player in the state as well. The athleticism runs in the family. His dad could have been an elite basketball player, came to Auburn as a wide receiver, ends up playing defensive end, made some big time plays. I know he's a proud dad sitting in the stands right now watching his son succeed in an Alabama uniform.
And Cam Womack loves it as well. First and 10. A.K. Deere trying to break free. By the way, since 1996, Alabama has only had 2 players throw multiple touchdowns in a game 3 times. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa did it 3 times, 17 and 18. Our research does not show any instances of 3 players accomplishing it in the last 30 seasons. Ty Simpson 3 touchdowns, Austin Mack 2, Keelan Russell 2.
This is
2-minute timeout.
Timeout.
Run out of words for this one. Just turn the lights on.
Get me.
Well, this summarizes the Alabama dominance tonight. Ty Simpson, perfect. Austin Mack, 80%. And Keelan Russell, the freshman, throws a couple of touchdowns and trying to finish thing off. First time in school history. 3 players recording multiple passing touchdowns in a single game. I think Nick Sheridan's going to have a lot to like in the film. He's breaking down the QB play after tonight. And that might draw a flag on the backside. And yep. Jalen Mbakwe with the carry, but before that we'll get a hold on Jackson Lloyd, freshman from Carmel, California.
Offense, number 78, 10-yard penalty, second down.
You're a young offensive lineman. You're getting there trying to make a play, trying to make a block. Don't get a ton of opportunities. Sometimes you know you shouldn't let go of the guy. You shouldn't take a shot when he's maybe a little bit in front of you. You're getting in front of the back, but you just want to try to get something done.
A.K. Deere again. Well, Wisconsin's coming to town, and it's not your uncle or even your big brother's Wisconsin, what they have been historically offensively. More in line with numbers-wise how often Kalen DeBoer wants to sling it around and put it in the air.
Oh, they've gone back to a little bit of what they were traditionally. Jeff Grimes, who's been at Baylor, now the offensive coordinator, getting away from a little bit more of the air raid style offense, and it'll be a lot of stretch play, which you had to prepare for ULM here. So there will be some carryover in prep from this week to next week, specifically on defense.
And a break free for A.K. Deere. He's in. Touchdown, Alabama. It's a 56-yard run, and they've got a 70-burger on the scoreboard.
Couple nice pulls there. Big Olas from Finland. We saw William Sanders earlier come in and jumbo package. He pulls around with a nice kick out block.
That'll send most out of here. Wisconsin, by the way, 2-0. Week 1 knocked up Miami of Ohio 17-0. Today against Middle Tennessee, won 42-10. That's 10 points allowed in 2 games. And also of note tonight, Mississippi State just knocked off Arizona State. First win again. They're tearing down the goalposts in Starkville. They hadn't
an
beat
SEC game last year. They needed to celebrate. It's fine.
And they hadn't beaten a ranked team as an unranked squad since you were in high school.
They're also leaving with the goalposts. Vandy vibes there.
Yeah.
That's a massive win for Jeff Levy, by the way. One that he needed. That's a signature win for him. Blake Shapen, a nice game. Big throw late.
Most significant win in the SEC today came where?
Kicking team, number 97.
I would go there.
Just nobody could see your point of view.
I would go to Starkville because Jeff Levy needed that one so bad. If Oklahoma holds on against Michigan, when it appears as though they will, that one also massive. There were a lot of discussions about Brent Venables' hot seat. Where are they going to go? Is this going to work? John Mateer's real deal. He is. That's the best defensive line in the SEC.
I mean, Jackson Arnold had a pretty darn good day, too.
He did. I don't know if I would mark Ball State as significant, but there are a lot of points proven, I think, today. And maybe a lot of narratives that were forcing people to get the erasers out on their number 2 pencils. Some not so fast, my friends.
When's the last time you used a number 2 pencil?
My kids use them all the time, actually. It's a little frustrating.
The big Snoopy ones, the kindergarten pencils?
No, we don't have those. Those were great for pencil break back in the day, though.
Yeah, they were. Swarming defense for Bama.
It almost feels like, Tom, this second and third group of the Alabama defense took this more personal than the first team did tonight.
Well, and that's kind of what I was alluding to, like the pride and accountability for everybody wearing a jersey, even if you don't see the field a ton. Here's a chance to prove it.
Yeah, this group has brought aggression, penetration, disruption. I mean, they have been, these 2s and 3s for Alabama defense tonight have been impressive to watch.
Kalen DeBoer told us that with the leadership in the locker room, he now has a better feel for not just who they're talking to, but how to talk to them. And that talk that he had as part of the players-only meeting, when the head coach walked in the door and told him what was on the line and how he wanted them to react, that message was received. Mission accomplished. Largest shutout win for Alabama since 1951.
That Delta State team was down a couple starters.
Well, yeah, they got ransacked in the portal that year from what I remember.
You also think, too, Tom, that some of the leadership going to be coming back for this Alabama team. No Ryan Williams tonight. No Danny Lewis tonight. Tim Keenum's going to get back. No Jamarian Latham tonight. There's more reinforcements coming for Kalen DeBoer's squad as well.
Yeah, know this, know that, know him, no problem. Final score tonight, Alabama 73. Louisiana Monroe, nothing. 69 plays for Bama. They averaged 8.5 yards per play. For Cole Kublik, producer Kevin Clark, I'm Tom Hart. Let's get to the studio. Here's